Shocking leak, Ducati quietly locks in Marquez, and it could change MotoGP's future. The rumor mill has been spinning for weeks, but now it's all but confirmed. Ducati has moved early to retain Marquez beyond his current deal, effectively tying its future to the rider who just delivered one of the most dominant seasons the sport has ever seen. On the surface, it looks simple. You keep the guy who just brought you 545 points, 11 Grand Prix wins, 8 poles, and 14 sprint victories, including 10 1-2 finishes. But under the surface? This move reshapes Ducati's project, the rider market, and maybe even the balance of power in MotoGP. And the wild part? The first hints didn't come in a formal press release. They slipped out between the lines of a heartfelt reflection from Ducati general manager Gigi Dall'Igna, who used a season-ending blog to paint a picture of Marquez that goes way beyond lap times.
Welcome to GP Time. Don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon for more updates.
Marquez, he said, combines the determination of a rookie with the experience of a veteran, and that's exactly the kind of rider you build a new era around. People inside the paddock have been whispering it for days. Ducati did not want to spend all of 2026 looking over its shoulder, wondering who might come knocking for Marquez. So the brand appears to have done what big-time sports franchises in the US always do when they find their guy: lock him in early. The logic is brutal and simple. Marquez just gave Ducati its most complete season ever. He's the face of their dominance and the emotional core of their comeback story. Letting his future hang in the air would only invite chaos and rivals. By moving aggressively to retain him, Ducati is sending a clear message to the rest of the grid. If you want to beat Mark, you're going to have to do it while he's on our bike. This isn't just a contract. It's a power move. In his season recap, Dall'Igna doesn't sound like a cold engineer talking about data. He sounds like someone who's been genuinely impressed, even moved, by what he's seen from Marquez this year. He doesn't just list the stats, though he does that too. He talks about Marquez's return to the grid with Gresini, starting from a satellite bike instead of a royal throne. His persistence through years of pain and rehab after that brutal arm injury in Jerez 2020. His enthusiasm, which Dall'Igna describes not as someone chasing a paycheck, but as someone chasing feelings, the sensations he thought he might have lost forever. One line hits especially hard. Dall'Igna says the spark in Marquez's eyes is a sign of an adventure that is human before it is sporting, lived with the humility of a rider who still feels he has something to learn. For a man like Dall'Igna, who has worked with champions and egos of all kinds, this is not casual praise. It's basically him saying, this guy is the template. And if you find the template of the perfect modern MotoGP rider, hungry like a rookie, smart like a veteran, humble in the garage but ruthless on Sunday, you don't just let him slip away when his contract ends. You build your house around him. The most telling part of Dall'Igna's reflection is how he frames Marquez's mindset. He doesn't dwell on how many titles he has. He zooms in on how he approached 2025. Like a rookie, Marquez wanted to keep learning, asking questions, digging into data, trying new things instead of hiding behind his past success. Like a veteran, he made smart choices under pressure, managed races, and knew when to attack, when to wait, and when to accept a safe result. That combo is deadly. Most riders tilt one way or the other. The young guns have fire but make rookie mistakes. The older guys have experience but sometimes lose that raw edge. Marquez in 2025 didn't pick. He showed up with both. For Ducati, that's exactly the mentality you want heading into an era of new regulations, new bikes, and tougher competition. It's not just that he's fast, it's that he's still obsessed with getting better. Dall'Igna spelled it out in black and white, and it reads like a stat page from a video game. 545 points, 11 Grand Prix wins, 8 pole positions, 14 sprint race victories, 10 1-2 finishes, 7 of those in a row. First Ducati rider to string together 15 straight sprint plus GP wins, stand on the podium in 11 consecutive races, finish a season with double-digit wins in both Grand Prix and sprint races. These aren't just good numbers. These are era-defining numbers. And when you drop that kind of season, the conversation stops being, should we renew him? It becomes, how do we make sure no one else gets even a sniff at signing him? The other side of this story is hard to ignore. Francesco Bagnaia. Not long ago, he was the golden boy of Ducati. Two-time MotoGP champion, the face of the brand, the rider around whom everything had been built. Then Marquez walked into the garage. Bagnaia's 2025 wasn't a disaster, but it was nowhere near the standard he set for himself. He had flashes. The destruction job at the Japanese Grand Prix reminded everyone what he can do, but he never really clicked with the GP25 the way Marquez did. He ended the year with 5 Sunday DNFs or non-scores, and a season full of what could have been. Bagnaia doesn't throw him under the bus. Far from it. In his blog, he points the finger at bad luck, especially in the final stretch of the season. A series of moments where small setbacks snowballed into big ones. Then he flips it into a lesson. He says seasons like this can become antibodies, painful experiences that make a rider tougher and more determined. Essentially, either it breaks you or it strengthens you. The message is clear. Ducati is all in on Marquez as the franchise, but they're not done with Bagnaia. They want him to use 2025 as fuel, come back swinging in 2026, and turn this into a two-headed monster team instead of a one-man show. So what does this leaked retention really change? 1. The rider market just got frozen. If Marquez is off the board for 2027 to 2028, a lot of wild what-if scenarios die instantly. No shock return to Honda as a savior at an blockbuster move to another European brand that chaos free agency where half the paddock waits to see what he'll do. Instead, Ducati becomes the place where the sport's defining rider is planted. That affects how other top riders think about their own futures, how sponsors move, how rivals structure their projects. 2. Ducati can plan the next era around one man. With Marquez retained, Ducati can develop the next generation of their MotoGP bike with one clear reference rider in mind. Build the team, the staff, and the internal politics around a stable core. Sell a clear storyline to fans and partners. This is the Marquez Ducati era. That kind of clarity is priceless. Bagnaia ended his reflection with a warning. 2026 will bring major unknowns. That's not a throwaway line. New challenges are coming, technical, sporting, and political. And yet, he argues, the tough moments of 2025, especially for Bagnaia, should be treasured as lessons to carry forward. Read between the lines and you get this. Ducati knows the good times don't last forever. They know the grid is going to punch back. They know regulation changes are coming and the target on their back has never been bigger. So what do? You keep the rider who just proved he can carry a factory through chaos, injury history, bike changes, and pressure. You keep Marquez. And if this leak is anything to go by, that's exactly what Ducati has decided to do, even if it means reshaping everything around him.